Hey everyone! Hope you're having an amazing day. It's Code Karen. Welcome to Reddit Stories, where we have 2 incredible stories with comments. If you are new to this channel, a sub would be great. Tap that notification bell. Let's jump right in. Would I be the idiot if I didn't let my dad walk me down the wedding aisle? I have a real dilemma. I'm finalizing my wedding plans, and I don't want my dad to walk me down the aisle. I know this decision will crush him. Over the past 5 years, my relationship with my father has taken a very bad turn. At one point, I was dealing with a lot of emotional situations and became deeply depressed. I stopped at home one day to get some advice, maybe a hug and some words of encouragement. But his response was that I was overreacting and get over it. This is typical of him not to offer me any support. Fast forward to a little over a year ago, and my dad filed divorce from my mom. Granted, it was not a real shock, but the news still rocked the family. Me and my brother got a nice place for my mom, and then we had a talk with Dad. We asked him to please wait to bring another woman into this family because the family needed time to get used to the split. My parents had been married 25 years, and it was going to be a big adjustment for everyone. Or so I thought. He shrugged his shoulders and kind of made a non-committal grunt. But we told him that we were serious, and if he got together with another woman so quickly after the divorce, we wouldn't be okay with it. Well, you guessed it. Within about 3 months after my mom moves out of the house, I find out from my brother, who still lives with my dad, that he has a girlfriend. I was really upset, but I didn't approach him about it. I guess I was expecting to hear about the girlfriend from him, but that never happened. It's not that surprising because my dad is a classic narcissist. He's always had an exaggerated sense of importance. Some would say an out-of-control ego. Hence, one of the reasons my parents divorced. There was no making him happy because he required so much attention that we could never do enough to make him happy. It was always a struggle to get any type of approval from him, so we kinda gave up. But he is my dad, and I love him. Anyway, I saw him out with his girlfriend and confronted him. He basically ignored me and didn't even introduce me to the girlfriend. He never reached out to me, but I shouldn't be that surprised. It's all about him, all the time. At this point, given the state of my non-relationship with my father, I don't feel like I want him to walk me down the aisle. It would just seem fake. I love my father, but I hold a lot of resentment toward him. And I don't know if that can be resolved before my wedding, which is in 2 months. I feel like I'd be the idiot for robbing him of the experience of walking his only daughter down the aisle. I'm heartbroken that it's come to this, but I don't feel like I have any other choice. So, would I be the idiot if I don't allow him to walk me down the aisle? Let's head to the comments. Nikki G says, "Not the idiot. But I want to give you a word of caution. I got married last year, and my 6-year-old daughter was the one who walked me down the aisle. I never even considered my dad because there was a lot of resentment at the way he treated me growing up. I was even uncomfortable with a daddy-daughter dance, and we skipped that as well. Fast forward, and my dad was sent to prison. He is in his late 60s and in poor health, so no one really expects him to walk free ever again. And I have to say that if I knew that, I would have danced with him and had him walk me down the aisle. I might not always like him, and I might not like the things he did in the past, but he is my dad, and that was a chance to add some positive memories to the bad ones. Make the choice you need to for yourself, but please think hard about it so you don't end up regretting it." Modern Artie says, "Everyone stinks here. You can't demand someone to not move on after a divorce. If your parents' divorce was a long time coming, your dad was probably already emotionally ready to move into another relationship. I understand that things get messy during a divorce, but no one has a right to tell someone not to date. Your dad didn't care about you being depressed. So, in my opinion, that's not a father figure you need walking you down the aisle on your wedding day. At the end of the day, do whatever you want, but nothing anyone says in the comments is going to fix your relationship with your dad. So you might as well have a deep conversation with yourself to either try and have a relationship with your father or not. The Spian Chick says, I was going to say not the idiot because your daddy-daughter dynamic is very complicated. I don't think I want to even touch that. The bottom line is that you don't have to do anything at your wedding that you don't want to. However, you're right that this would probably ruin any future chance of a lasting relationship between you and your dad. Ask yourself if that's important enough for you to compromise. If not, don't let him walk you down the aisle. It's your wedding, and every decision should come from your heart and not be forced on you by, quote, some tradition. Our next story is, am I the idiot for telling my brother we would be so much better off without him in the family? My parents like to pretend that nothing is ever wrong in our family, and the world is full of unicorns and rainbows. Classic family in denial, I guess. The reality is that I am bipolar, and I work really hard to manage it. Unfortunately, before I was properly medicated and found a really great therapist, I had a manic episode and ended up in the hospital. The hospital staff was super professional, and they really walked me through one of the scariest moments of my life. Fortunately, I made it to the other side, and I believe I'm better for it. My brother and I have never been close. To be honest, I really can't stand him. When I had that attack, my brother was with me, so I asked him to drive me to the hospital. Ever since then, my brother has thrown it in my face every chance he gets. If I ever say something he doesn't agree with or challenge him in any way, he will pull the crazy card and say, "Oh, okay, psycho boy. I'll remember that the next time you go crazy and need me." Hurtful stuff like that. Fast forward, and my parents, my brother, and I are together at dinner, and I said something he didn't agree with, and he started in on his typical rant about how terrible I am, how I'll never change, blah, blah, blah. Things got out of hand, and he accused our parents of always taking my side and defending me, which couldn't be further from the truth. I'm the damaged one, the problem child. He's their boy, their son, the favored child who can do no wrong. I want to let everyone know that my brother is far from perfect. He too shares some mental issues and suffers from depression. My therapist has taught me to stop labeling people as having particular mental issues and see them as a whole person instead of bits and pieces. The last time he was depressed, it was a pretty serious time after he broke up with his girlfriend. I stayed by his side for 3 days, reassuring him that he'll be okay. I repeated to him that I've been there before and that he'll get through the darkness like he has every other time. Take one day at a time. You know, things I would want someone to say to me in a crisis. Anyway, back to the blow up at dinner. He pushed me one step too far, and I went full nuclear on him. The one thing I promised myself I would never do. I shoved his depression right into his face. I said how pathetic that he got depressed after a silly breakup. I was there for him when no one else was, including my parents, who are in denial about this depression. I brought up how I was there for him, taking care of him, helping our parents deal with his issues. But if that wasn't enough, I finished it by getting in his face and saying, "We would all be so much better without you." Not real proud of that one, but it just came out. So, I guess the question is, am I the idiot for going full nuclear on my brother in front of my parents? Or did he need this to happen to realize that he's not the only one suffering, and we have to come together as a family and stop all this name calling? Let's head to the comments. Temperate End says, "Not the idiot. You tried your best to be there for your brother, despite your own problems, and despite him being an immature jerk. I get that you both are dealing with your own mental issues, but that doesn't excuse nasty behavior. You are dealing honestly with your bipolar diagnosis, and I commend you. You lost it a bit with your brother when he pushed you that far, but you're man enough to admit that you wish that you hadn't said all that you said. I get it, that your brother never treated you with respect and compassion, as proven to you many times before. Treat others how you want to be treated, is a saying that comes to mind here. Everyone stinks here, including your parents, for allowing this animosity between their sons to fester." Roman Borbaki says, "I think this is an obvious everyone stinks here. In the end, you both need to work on communicating or just cut contact. But just saying, I might have lost my cool like that too. I know you aren't asking for advice, but if I could give it, I'd say apologize for what's been said and explain why you blew up. If he wants to apologize, shake hands, and change his ways, great. If not, well, you're better off without him, like you said. And yes, your parents stink for not being there for you either." Legendary Golf says, "I have a hard time calling you an idiot. You reacted extremely poorly, but being constantly bullied and belittled takes its toll. Your brother is an idiot who feels the need to put you down in order to feel good about himself. Your parents are idiots for not putting a stop to this a long time ago. At the end of the day, I think you could have handled it better, but your reaction, although terrible, doesn't put you on the same level as him. As others have said, I would suggest going low to no contact with your family if you can." Hey Code Karen community, what would you do in this situation? I'd love to hear your comments. See you in the next story.